ask you to weigh in on attending the global conference.
Oh, yeah. You know, I am one of those people, I will tell you, who was, I was involved in Shaklee I was just very casual for a long time. And when I started building my business, it took me a couple years to say, I'm going to make a commitment and go to global. And one of those times I was ready to have a baby, but I just was like, yeah, like, I know everybody says it's great, and then when we committed to go, it was more than anyone had ever told me it was. And once you go, you realize that, and I don't know why. Like, I try to figure out, like, could someone have said to me to make me understand why it was worth going, and I try to express that to people too, because I mean, once I went, that year my business doubled, and then the next year it almost doubled. You know what I mean? Like, and my friend Janelle talks about that. It's not just like this business conference, but you learn so much about health, and you learn about, you get to hear Dr. Daddy speak and Dr. Jamie speak, and you get to, that side of things. And then you also get to connect and meet with people who you may not otherwise know, who are also involved in Shaklee, and be able to glean from what they've been doing and how they've been working. And you may find someone who is on another team who you just connect with, and you are able to encourage each other through the year, and have accountability calls, and whatever that looks like. And there's so many levels to the value of it, and and there's just so many, and it's so worthwhile, and you will make your investment back, and there's, share a hotel room, carpool, like there's a lot of ways to, for us, carpool, but for where we are, but so there's just so many, but it's just so valuable. Yeah.
Well, and I think part of what it is that there's an immersion, instead of getting stuff trickled to you over a long period of time, there's that immersion in Shaklee, so you get saturated, and no one can tell you how that is going to affect you. And that's the difficulty we have in expressing the value of going, I think.
And I think that you see, like, everybody talks about the Shaklee community and how everybody's so nice and helpful, and, we're all working toward the same big goal of changing lives, and then you get to see it, too. And I think that it enhances your belief, because you meet people who you wouldn't otherwise meet, and they share something with you that's been valuable to them, and and you're like, it's this great opportunity to see that culture too.
I think for me, having a place where you have a few days where you completely are without distraction, it's extraordinary, because so many of us, we have, children and animals and jobs and responsibilities and everything, and to go a place where you can really shut out the world and say 100% of my brain is for my business. That's, I think, why it works for me so well, because I have the whole year, because I don't have to answer the phone and check this and reply to emails. I really give my whole self to that experience, and I think you're so right, Harper. You really can't measure it. You just can't.
Well, and on the flip side, though, for anyone who is listening and thinking, oh yeah, but get away from all the distractions. I can't do that. I still have a nursing baby. So do I, and I'm bringing them. And it is a very, I love that culture, that I don't have to feel like that's taboo, because there's a special room I can go in if I want, or I can, whatever, but that culture of just family and appreciating that is there, and I appreciate that too. So
you're right. I love all the babies at conference. It is such a beautiful culture. You're right.
So tell Lisa and guys, take us into Dan Buettner and.
Yeah. Well, this is such an exciting thing, and boy, talk about just a wonderful timing for Shaklee to kind of team up with Dan. I started seeing things about this on, the Today Show. I had a few members that read articles about Dan Buettner and cut him out of the newspaper and mail them to me, just saying, this is so cool, you'll really like this, having no idea that we're so connected, but it's such a beautiful, important concept that parallels right along with what we do and believe in. So Dan has done some incredible work discovering what's called the blue zones, and they're just really unique places in the world where people are living incredibly long and fulfilled and wonderful lives. And so he goes into the aspects of what are these people doing to live this way, right? And it really is quite fascinating and inspiring. And he is going to be a key speaker at conference. So,
and there's a lot of what he found out about these areas or pockets of longevity that correlate directly to what we are all about in Shaklee.
Yeah. What we stand for and what we promote. I just remember even one little clip I saw, I think on the Today Show, and they were saying, it's so much a part of the lifestyle of these people. They get up and they naturally meet with, 10, 15 other people in the community, and they walk. These people walk on average of 5 to 8 miles a day. They're 100 years old. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's just a part of who they are. And you're right, Joe. It is very much aligned with what we are about. It's very exciting. I can't wait.
This is worth the price of admission alone, I think, just to hear him.
I agree. To be able to put stuff like this into your life and have it shape you. And then there's Shawn Achor, and I don't know, Harper or Joe, if you guys have had a chance to watch this TED Talk, oh my gosh, I saw it come through Facebook the other day, and I'm like, I just need to watch this. I've heard so much about it.
I'll have to watch it. I haven't seen it.
You will love it. It's only 5 minutes, but it's the kind of stuff that you're like, yes, that makes such good sense. And he's quite hilarious, by the way. So we are really going to have so much fun at a conference.
And this is the kind of value that you get outside of just helpful information how to run your business, but personal development as well. And
Right. It's the kind of stuff, again, that you input into yourself, and it can grow you as a person in ways that is just extraordinary. And so excited. I'm getting
And don't underestimate that. Don't underestimate how your personal growth affects everything and the things that you learn about outside of, following up and, how to run a Facebook meeting, like becoming who you are and growing in your personal development, that's the big key. And so that is really important. So don't and obviously Shaklee knows that and they see that value. Therefore, this is why we're having some of these things. So.
Hey, Joe, I just got a quick text from Katie. She needs to be unmuted. So.
Oh, I had unmuted her.
Oh, it must have gone back. She just sent me a thing.
I'm here.
Said, oh, there she is.
Good morning, Katie.
Hi, Katie.
Okay.
Hi, you got a text from me, Lisa?
No, I got a text from Barb. I thought it was from you, Katie. So I
did unmute Barb.
Barb says...
I'm unmuted?
Yes, we hear you.
Oh. Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Good morning.
I love technology.
Of course you do.
So I get a new computer and all of a sudden go to webinar, doesn't even recognize me.
That's what.
Is that bizarre? I didn't get a notification. All right, we'll have to have a chat with them later. Okay.
Yes. Just remember, success is not to be pursued. It is to be attracted by the person you become.
Good to know, Joe.
Our good friend Jim Rohn, he had it right.
All right, and here's the other thing he said. Oh, my Lord.
Well, this is one of my all-time favorite quotes of his. If you want to have more, you have to become more. For things to change, you have to change. For things to get better, you have to get better. For things to improve, you have to improve. When you grow, everything grows for you. And I think that's kind of what we were talking about. And Harper, you were getting into that a little bit about the personal development that we're exposed to at conference. So,
well, not only
right here.
I was going to say not only a conference, but right here is right. And so that's really what we're going to be talking about for the next 6 weeks. And this was just a nice prelude to that. And then Katie had sent us a message saying, could we talk just for a few minutes about summer strategies and mindset? And so, Katie, why don't you share your thoughts about that?
Yes. So I think I love the summer because I feel like, especially if you live up north, people go into hibernation and you don't see people as often. But as soon as it starts getting warmer out, you're around more people. And I just have to share a couple stories about how easy it is to incorporate our business into these summer months. One example would be from one of my directors, Laura Gugi, who was so excited because she had, I believe she went on a weekend getaway trip with her family, and by the end she had 3 new members, and she was able to still generate business even while being on vacation. And that's because at the core of what we do in Shaklee is all about relationships, and it's all about connecting with other people. And in the summer, we have so many opportunities to do that, whether it's barbecues or graduation parties or birthday parties or whatever the case may be. And there's a lot of ways that we can look to really integrate our business in what we're doing. Also, I think that sometimes in the summer months, because it's the summer and because kids are on break and it's just a little bit more laid back, sometimes you can easily get swept away into that laid back poolside type of thing. But what I love is that there are so many ways that we can look to continue to grow our business in the summer months. And it's just being smart about it. It's planning ahead, because I know for a lot of people, as soon as their kids are home from school, it gets a little bit harder. But when you plan that time and when you decide I'm going to work Monday, Wednesday, Friday morning, and as soon as I hit my goal for the day, then I'm going to go to the pool, or whatever the case may be. Pam always taught us that. She always had a goal of getting to 100 PV every day, and so as soon as she hit it, then she was off to the zoo or to do her activities with her kids. And also, there is a huge need right now for Shaklee products in the summer months. In fact, our team had one of our best months in the month of May, and I predict already, just from how June is going, that it's going to continue to be that way, because Shaklee has so many incredible promotions right now with the Gold Pack promotion. I think it's just a great way to share with other people about the business. Teachers are on break for the summer months, and so I'm reaching out to teachers like crazy, just trying to see who would be interested in creating some residual income with that. And so I'm really excited. Also, as we think about the fall, September is a prime time for starting new businesses. So a lot of times the process of that isn't overnight. So start planting the seeds now so that by the time the fall season rolls around, people are already up and running and ready to start their business.
That's so good, Katie. And I think so much of what you said is it's almost just an intentionality, right? You just have an intention of loving, enjoying, and having fun in summer, and having your business stay right on track and growing. So very good.
Well, and I think also, and periodically through the next few weeks, we'll bring you some ideas. But there is an excellent class that we did last summer. It's called Shaklee Summer School 2014. It is archived at betterfuturestartstoday.com and bobsfiles.net. And in there, there was sprinkled in, it was called 8 Weeks to Director, and sprinkled throughout it were all kinds of marketing ideas for summer. So it's another good resource for people.
Excellent.
And it's really planning ahead, like Lisa said, and in filling up your calendar with events that you can do or play dates. I'm going to meet a lot of moms at the park, and the kids run around, they're entertained, go to a splash park, and you're able to talk about the sunscreen that you brought along and the performance and the meal bars and things like that. And we also have our Monday night wellness webinars that we're going to continue. So on June 1st, we already had Gary Burke share his story and overview. Coming up on June 8th, preparing for the perils of summer, and then June 15th, nutritional support for labor and delivery and postpartum healing. I'm really excited about that one. I'll be sharing my Shaklee story on that one, and I just had a really big difference on Shaklee, using Shaklee for labor and delivery and recovery versus not. I have a very good before and after story with that. And then on June 25th, we're still working through the Power of Our Profession Power of Our Profession for teachers who are still working.
Well, I made that up. We could still discuss that, but I thought that came from Katie after we did one in February, and it's just such a wonderful group to a demographic for Shaklee. The teachers just have amazing skills for Shaklee businesses, and in my opinion, they're so terribly underpaid for what they bring to our society that Katie said maybe we should do another one. And this is for teachers who are still working, because it tucks in so easily around their life with the flexibility of this business. So I'm open to any other suggestions, but if not, that was the one that was on the table at the time.
It's a good one.
Oh, okay, that's good. Okay, yeah. We're ready to roll, Lisa. And maybe I just want to introduce all of our leaders
yes.
for the summer. That we're going to be having guests all summer long, these 6 weeks. But I want to tell you that these 3 leaders who join Joe and myself on Thursday mornings are really incredibly gifted. In fact, I need to now change that title slide, because Harper has just advanced to senior executive coordinator, and very exciting. And Lisa is on the brink of moving toward Key. She's working on that one. And Katie just became an executive coordinator just 2 months back. So these, all 3 of these women, their businesses are growing. They're bringing all the ideas of things that they are doing now that is helping them to meet new people, to grow their organizations, grow their product volume and their customer base. And so they're bringing all that to this session. And this summer now we are focusing on just one aspect of that, and that is about growing organizations. So Lisa, I'm going to turn it over to you to kind of set the stage.
Yay, and I just want to say I just am so honored, and it's such a pleasure to work with this team of women. They're so awesome. So welcome, everyone. We are kicking off our summer session number 1 for 2015, and we're talking about ourselves, as our businesses grow, as we grow. And so we're going to talk about leadership, the steps, the processes, personal development, and I think Harper said it beautifully in the pre-call. We really can't underestimate the value of growing personally and how that's going to impact our business. It really is everything. So it's going to be an awesome session, and we're just thrilled to spend the next 6 weeks with everyone, developing and taking off. So, Harper.
And I wanted to mention, just as we talked about, that I had this past month, my summer started in May. We were out of town vacationing for 2.5 weeks of May, and busy in between, trying to get ready, recover from vacation and get ready for vacation. And it was my best month ever by far, because of how we can so easily weave our business into the rest of our lives. And I think that as we look at summer and we talk about what is available, what we can do with our summer without missing any of what summer is about. So I just wanted to mention that real quick. But anyway, this next 6 weeks we'll focus on leadership. And what I was saying before was just that the personal development and being able to grow in our leadership and our people skills and our personal development really is a huge part of what transformed my business and what transformed me. And when I look at, for me, the Shaklee effect for me, it's not just our health and it's not just our financial freedom, but it really is the person that I've been able to become, and the opportunities for leadership that I've been given, and just how I've been able to grow personally. And that's why I love the quote that Barb put at the bottom of this slide, that achieving the rank of master coordinator is not nearly as important as the person we become along the way. And I would say that for every rank that I have achieved, that is even more important. And we talk about the fundamentals, and the fundamentals are important. And you can go back to last summer and listen to those and watch those about how to become a director, and then how to develop a director. But this will really determine where we go and who we become. And yeah. So, and I love this quote from John Maxwell, that true leadership must be for the benefit of the followers and not just to enrich the leader. And I think that is a huge part of where leadership comes from. And really, and I love the way that Shaklee's business is designed, because it really it encourages you to be just that.
Yeah.
And everything about the compensation plan that's very different from other things I've looked at really is it's geared at that, and it's geared towards you being that kind of leader.
Excellent. Very good.
Rewarding you for helping others to grow.
Yeah.
Exactly
yeah.
right. Mm-hmm.
All right. So our objectives for this session today, we really want to understand the benefits of developing an organization, because you do want to know, first of all, why would I want to do that, and what are the benefits? So we're going to just delve into that a little bit. It's not just about money. It is extremely rewarding, and it is the key to all of the beautiful aspects that come along with a Shaklee business, is having a strong, stable, growing organization. We're going to review the essential steps of developing a director. So we're going to just break them down. We want you to be confident and ready to help lead your leaders through director. But if you're on the call and you're not a director yet, they're for you as well. So we're going to just go through those steps. What does it take to get to director, to build that organization? And then we're going to talk about really the time standards. So what is it? How long does it take to develop to director? And of course, we know it can be different for everyone. There's not an exact set hour or week, but we want to give you a little bit of a time frame so that you can project that and know, what to expect and what to shoot for as you're working towards director, because it's important that you have some sort of kind of benchmark to work for. And when you're helping your leaders set their goals, you want to kind of get some framework around that. So it's going to be a good day. We have lots to do.
All right. The power of the team. So benefits of developing an organization. I feel like the list just could keep going on and on and on of all the benefits of when you develop a team. But I think for me, one of the best things is when you're able to help another family, whether it's paying for kids' education, helping to pay for a new vehicle for your family, getting kids off of prescription medicines, 4 or 5 prescription medicines that they are on. When you're doing that, you are changing another family's life, especially when it comes to the business. And when you see the things that another mom or another person is able to do for their family as a result of Shaklee, I think that's one of the best joys that I have in what we get to do.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Harper.
I was just going to say that is so true. And I can talk about stories of people changing their health and how that's been great, and that's awesome. But when I met Katie a few years ago and talked to her about what I was doing, she said that what they wanted to do was to buy a house, and that she wanted to stay home with her daughter but be able to buy a house. And they are doing that right now. That is so, to have that dream that she had come to fruition. I mean, and there are lots of things. I mean, for Katie, for example, with the trips and everything that she's achieved, but that was something that was part of her why. And to see that happen for her is such a blessing to me.
Yeah.
And so even just from this side of what Katie's saying about Katie, that has been so powerful, and that's why I attach on to when people share with me their why. That's what gets me excited about helping them. And anyway, I just wanted to share that.
Very true.
That's been very impactful for me lately, as Katie's been able to do that.
Yes, very true. And I just can't help but think every single month when my husband and I look at each other and are so thankful that we have our business, because things come up. And I tell a lot of people who get started in the business, when I ask them, who do you think you would enjoy working alongside? And sometimes people will pause because a name won't immediately come to their mind. And I will tell them, if you think about it, there are so many people who need what Shaklee has to offer. They just do not yet know it. I didn't know that I was looking for Shaklee 2.5 years ago. I wouldn't have known unless Harper had shared it with me. And so I feel that same passion, and that passion grows and grows more and more over time. In fact, that whole house story, my husband and I were in the process of trying to find a house and, being able to financially afford a bigger home. And the month that I advanced in rank was the month that we finalize everything on our house. And we knew, thankfully, with Shaklee, we could do this. And so, and we've had it many times. Appliances break down or different things, medical expenses come up or whatever the case may be. And we have Shaklee as a way to provide for that. And so I know other families need that. I'm very confident in that and knowing that when we share that with other people. So also, it's really fun to work alongside your closest friends and your closest family. I love being able to do this business with people that are some of my closest friends, and my sister, who is one of my dearest best friends. It's just been such a joy to be able to, go to a park or walk alongside and think, oh yeah, what would you say to somebody about, how would you help somebody with allergies? And just to work as you're playing and having fun. And that's the great thing about our Shaklee lifestyle. Also, to build an organization creates more value to your business should you want to leave it to your descendants or even sell it. And I think this is what always drives me too, is that I am building something for my family. And I've heard it said before, I can't remember who said this, but I think it was you, Lisa, actually, when you said this at regionals. You said you can build something that if something were to happen to you or you have to take a step back for a period of time, it continues to grow and it continues to stay there. And I think that's the beauty of Shaklee, is that we build something that if something happens to us, it'll continue to be there and grow, and I love that. I think that's so great. Also, Shaklee has a great motivation for all of us. They want to double its size in North America, and also all of the benefits offered by the Dream Plan also when you develop a team. I love sharing with Barb's story about how when she looks at her bonus check, 3/4 of it is from her team, and it's a very impressive bonus check that she receives. Barb, I believe it's out of 15 or 17,000 that she gets paid a month, 11 of that comes from her team. And I share that with people because that's a true testimony of the team that she's building and how much of a difference that makes in her paycheck.
That's awesome.
So enrollment and duplication and developing your organization systems are so critical. And this takes time, and this takes trial and error in some ways, because the way that I start somebody now is a little bit different than when I started somebody a year ago. But it's so important that you have a system down, and that you have a system down that's duplicatable. So if I were to go and get somebody started with an in-home event, that I do it in a way that they would feel comfortable doing the next in-home on their own. If I do a Facebook event, that, again, I would do it in a way that they would be able to then turn around and be able to do that Facebook event for their team or for one of their new members or distributors. So that's really important, and Sarah has that whole I do, we do, you do method. So she does it first, then they do it together, and then the new person does it. And then connecting your distributors to a company and team tools and training, this is so important. And like we already talked about this morning, the business training webinars that we have, Getting Started 101, Building to Director, listening to podcasts, saturating yourself with as much training as possible, reading books. Sarah Robbins' Roster Network Marketing book is a wonderful book. I wish that I started that book as soon as I started in the business, because I just feel like it's the best book, in my opinion, for somebody just getting started, because she gives very practical how to talk to somebody, how to give samples to somebody, how to reach out to people, and then teaching them a sponsoring process. So teaching them about creating a list and reaching out methods to continue to meet new customers and distributors. And when you get that process started with people and you get them firmly planted on the ground, that makes a big difference in how they're able to continue on in the business, and also how they're able to then help other people do the same.
Very good. I think that one of the things that's really important is to remember that new distributors are in kind of an evaluation period in the beginning, and there's a lot that we still want to share with them, and we want to, they see Shaklee and they see that it's a great company and great products and a great opportunity, but to really help. We want them to be familiar with the best resources, so that we want to be familiar with what the best resources are to send them, and all that they can also send other people, but also to continue to increase their passion, increase their belief in Shaklee, and increase their belief in themselves. And there are a handful of things that we can send them that are very powerful. Shaklee.tv is an incredible website. I use that quite a bit. I think that those Shaklee Effect videos are very powerful. I think that, there's so many resources both about the business and about the products. It just goes on. And they can easily, any new distributor can easily see that, be excited about it, and then share it with someone. And it's very easy to share. And they're little chunks. They're great to share on social media. So even when someone is just starting and they see the value of social media, they can, something that increase their passion, they can then share too. The Better Health in 31 Days websites and the Better Future Starts Today websites are very powerful too. And you can get a subscription to those for you and your team, and they are very worthwhile. The Better Health in 31 Days website, for anyone who doesn't know, is health stories, our health webinars on Monday nights, a lot of audio files. It's great to learn about different health concerns or different products. And so that's a great thing to have for people, because I've even known new distributors who use that as a presentation, like, let's watch this together, or because it's all there for them. They can use the PowerPoints, they can use those things. And then the Better Future Starts Today. That is where that 8 Weeks to Director series is.
Yeah.
That is where the How to Build Directors is. All of those things are there, all the power of our professions. So those are great to send them to, because I think that those also do continue to encourage that belief, but also to easy resources that new distributors can share. Three-way calls with an upline, to me, are one of the most powerful tools that we can use in Shaklee. And teaching your new distributors to do this, teaching your new distributors the power of a three-way call, how to introduce a leader, and then how to follow up with those calls. I just was working with a new distributor, and we talked about, okay, this is what happens when we start the call, and then afterwards we talked about, okay, this is how we're going to follow up with that from that call, and the information that we mentioned on the call that we're going to send them. So she knew what it was we were talking about. But to me, and I've always said this, having a three-way call, whether it's with someone who's interested in the business or someone who's interested in a product, doesn't only teach you about how to, like, what the information, the facts are about the health topic, or the facts are about the business, but it teaches you how to have a conversation with people. And listening, doing three-way calls with Barb Lagoni has very much impacted just the way that I talk to people and the way that I ask questions. And I think that, as we talked about, personal development skills are huge. And when we have the opportunity to just glean, and they've ever heard that things are more caught than taught. You can catch those things when you're just listening to Barb have a conversation, or whoever your upline is. When I can listen to her have a conversation, and she's like, oh, she asked that, and then that, oh, that makes sense, why, and obviously we've talked about it, and she's taught me skills around that, but just listening is very powerful. Area meetings and conferences. Same thing we were talking about in the beginning with global. Like, those are important and those are valuable, and they will catch the excitement and of a bigger group of people, and that the culture, and also the training that's available, and what goes on. And sharing stories is, to me, when I'm having a conversation with someone, and especially like in the summer, a lot of my conversations are like Katie was saying, we're at the park and someone says, oh, I just can't find a sunscreen that doesn't, from a company that I trust, or my husband won't use sunscreen because it dribbles in his eyes when he puts it on his head, and you can say, oh, well, I use such and such, or, my friend had that same issue, whatever, or bug bites, or whatever it is. When you have stories to share with people, that's the kind of conversation that I have at the park. It's sharing a story, whether it's mine or someone else's. And so the opportunity to just share stories with each other, to hear stories on webinars, is going to give you your new distributor stories to share when they're having a conversation. And then you just really want to connect a new person to the team, because that team culture is sometimes the most important thing to someone, and knowing that they're not doing this alone. When we connect a new person to our team Facebook group, they often tell me that they are just cannot believe the encouragement and the support and the answers that they get from being part of that group of people who they've never met any of them, and they feel loved by them. And just that team aspect, connecting them to your team, connecting them to people who will help them to grow, because it's a team, and we work as a team, and I think that that's something that really powerful.
I agree. Very good. So as in the evaluation period, like we said, they can start anywhere, and there's a very big difference from being, in the scale of 1 to 10, you see there, very different from being interested, a 1 or a 2, and fully committed, a 9 or a 10, and that can take, a different amount of time for a lot of people, and helping someone get to that place where they're committed. And for me, just like hearing, Katie, talking about buying her house, this week I had a conversation with one of, sometimes, like Katie was saying, there are people out there that you would love to work with, people out there who you would love to be a part of, be a part of your business, and there are people that you meet that you don't really know very well, but you really like them, and they would be fabulous. And I met one of those people, I don't know, I guess 3 years ago. And it took a long time to have a conversation with her about Shaklee. It took a long time to to have that process go through. But I remember meeting her at the very beginning, and I was very nervous about sharing the business at the time, and I carried around like an old Join Us DVD in my gym bag, hoping that I could give it to her. But, and I've always been able to see this potential. And, even just this week, we had this conversation where she was just telling me that this is it. Like, this is it. And she knows that this is it, that she has found what she was looking for. And I know that she has been committed for a long time, but just to hear her talk about that, and that she shared that with someone else, that she's not going to be looking for anything else. Like, this is where she's at, and this is where she's growing, and this is what she wants to commit to, so that she has that to leave her children. And that process is really cool to be a part of. But how to determine where they are, and I just wanted to share that because it's exciting, but how to determine where someone is when they're developing a business are just ask some questions. Are you calling them, or are they calling you? Are they attending training sessions and conference calls? Are they making contacts and taking actions? And I think that, as your team grows, you need to be able to ask these questions, because you need to be able to focus your time. You need to be able to know who to spend your time with if you have a lot of people on your team, but you also need to know where their interest level is, and are there things that you need to share with them to increase their interest level, to increase their excitement, and just to be able to gauge where that is. And I love this quote because this is very true, and as you continue to grow a business and you continue to see leaders, you will see that this is true. When you are interested, you do what is convenient, and when you're committed, you do whatever it takes. And that is so true. And I just it was very interesting. I listened to an amazing podcast just yesterday, just about sticking with it and sticking through it, and pushing forward through difficult times, and how to persevere. That was the word. How to persevere as an entrepreneur in business, and really focusing on why you're doing this and what your commitment is what can really push you through. And so that quote really is very true in that aspect. Very good. All right. So we are going to go through now the basic steps to director. And the first step is to helping the person you're working with, or even yourself, identify their purpose for developing a Shaklee business. So, it's really a fun conversation, and it's one that should not be ever glossed over, because we know how important it is to really understand this. And a lot of times we'll refer to it as, developing your why, or finding your why, or knowing what's driving you. But it starts with a question of, what would you like Shaklee to do for you? And we have a beautiful new chiropractor that just joined our team. In fact, I think she's on. So welcome, Dr. Whitney. We're thrilled to have you. And we were having this conversation yesterday, and she pointed to this big, beautiful diploma on the wall, and she said, that's about as much money as a house. And so she's got to pay that off. That was a great visual and a very clear thing that she would love to have Shaklee do for her. So it's a good conversation, but you really have to have these conversations, because you need to know what will it be that's going to compel them to build, right? Because building a business takes a little bit of effort, many times a lot, and it takes discipline, and it takes learning, and so there has to be a reason, right? This is your reason. So step one, identify their purpose. There's two components. What do you want Shaklee to do for you, but also what would you like to do for others through your Shaklee business? And this really more often is so exciting for us, because we can say, I want to share health and hope with people through Shaklee, or I have a passion to help young moms stay at home and be a full-time mom while they build their businesses, or I love seeing people get results to health problems by taking good nutrition. Whatever it is, you've got to really have an idea of what do you want your mission to be, to touch other people's lives through Shaklee. So again, it's a conversation, asking question, and then bringing definition to it. So I really recommend people get a lovely little notebook or journal and tablet and just start writing these things out. It will evolve, but you want to really get in touch with it, because then you have that source to help you build your business. But if you see down here at the bottom, when they're in touch with their reasons, it becomes a really beautiful thing for them to share with people. And it is very compelling, and it is attractive. So that's step number one, and it's very important. So make sure that you're doing that. And then step two, this is where we kind of get to the beginning parts of, okay, let's build. And you start to create their list. So we have kind of two breakdowns here, creating your dream team list, and this is the list of people that you would love to partner with, that you see would be a great asset, or that Shaklee could really offer something to them. And so this is the people that you're going to reach out to and say, hey, I think you might be interested in something I'm doing. I don't know, but I would love to share it with you. And then you want to create your lifelong customer list, and these are the people that you'll share Shaklee products with, and they will love them, and they will use them forever, and share them with their children and their neighbors and their cousins. And here's the thing, and I know everybody on the call that's been building Shaklee for a while knows this, is sometimes people will hop from list to list. You know what I mean? And so, but you've got to start creating these lists. It's true. Your lifelong customers will become your dream team, or vice versa. So there's a fluidity there, but you just get these names down so that you create some people to reach out to and to share Shaklee with. So you're going to go through this list with your new builders, and you're going to talk a little strategy. And then step three, it really is fun, because now you create the plan. And so you start with their dream and their goals and their whys, and then you start to say, okay, where do you want to be in a year from now? Let's create a plan to director. How much time do you have? When do you want to reach director? And again, we're going to kind of break that down a little bit more. And then you say, okay, this is what this is going to look like. If you want to be a director by this date, then this month we should set a goal to hit 1,000 PV. And then you create an action plan to bring that about. So in session 4 of our 6-week summer series, we're going to really delve deeper into this 1,000 PV plan, the 2,000 PV plan, so you can really have some good concepts built around that. But this is just a key piece to creating your plan, because then once you have a plan, okay, what do I want to see this month? Okay, then what needs to happen this week? All right, good. Now let's create the activity that goes with it. Which brings us to step 4.
Lisa, I just wanted to mention that the thought just occurred to me. I think one way to gauge if a person is interested or committed is if they're excited also about designing a 1,000 PV plan and a 2,000 PV plan.
Yeah.
And doing this within a compressed period of time. It's not where it's going to take 6 to 12 months to get to director. 6 to 12 weeks is what we should be looking at.
It's actually much harder to build over a longer period of time.
Oh, yes.
Because you lose your momentum, and you have to go back and go, now where was that stuff again, and who was I going to call again, you know? It's like when you can clear the decks and be in the mode, then you learn it, you know, because you're in it, and there's a rhythm to it. That's a good point.
Yeah.
Well, there's something about consistency too that also really allows you to build upon everything you're doing. I tell people it's much like exercise. You can say, I'm going to exercise, a certain amount of hours every month, and I'm going to do it all on one Saturday. Well, you'll just be really sore. But if you do a little exercise every day, at the end of the month, you'll have some great results. So
that is a really good analogy.
It is. Yeah.
Okay, so we got the first three. So let's be. I want everyone to realize that you know this stuff. So you define the purpose, you make the list, then you got to have a plan, figure out what are you going to do with those people, and then number 4, Lisa.
So this is the implementation of the plan. You're going to launch your business, and you're going to start doing the things that you have decided to do to reach the goals that you would like to meet. So I always tell my people, we've got to decide your main MO, what's your method of operation. And you really want to just say what's going to feel natural and appropriate for you to reach out to people and share Shaklee with them. And so I think this is really smart. Pay attention to your social circles, and where are they spending their time? Are they largely on Facebook? Do you have? For me, I do a lot of in-home events because I'm social, and I love to have women over, and we love to eat, and it's always a good time. So you can do a lot of different things, and I really recommend you probably will end up doing some of all of them, but create a MO, a method of operation, so you're going to utilize this approach to sharing people with others, and then that's when you start to schedule your time. So we really turn step 4 into the launch into almost a working plan, an activity plan, and then you say, what's my goal for the month? How many meetings do I want to have? How many 3-way calls? And then you start working through your list, and you help with the languaging and the invitation process, and this is building a Shaklee business. It's a beautiful thing, and again, back to Joe's point, there's so much learning along the process, and there's so much value to doing the activity. You really want to make sure that you're avoiding the temptation to try to learn stuff too much first. You can just learn in the process, get it going. And then step 5 is really closing with the use, share, build concept. For me, I think this really is a major piece to being a good leader in your business, because what this is actually saying is, I am going to tell the people that I'm sharing with their options. I'm going to give them clear direction in what they can do to move ahead with Shaklee. So I'll just give you my verbiage a little bit and how it works, but I think it's a very nice way to give people choices of how they can enter the door into the beautiful world of Shaklee. So I'll say, most people choose to use Shaklee products because they're high quality, they're so good, they're cost effective, and they get great results for them. And then many people find that it's natural to share those with other people. It's almost like an organic process. They love the products, they work well, and we love it when people share Shaklee with other people, and a lot of times they get their products paid for, and we love our referral partners. And then some people choose to build a business like us, and they join our team, and they create wonderful organizations with tremendous income. And basically, someone who is building a business is just teaching people to use the products, share the products, and to build the business alongside with them. So it's just a nice way. It's important, and I think it's a beautiful thing that it's in these steps, because a lot of times people don't know how to lead others into an involvement with Shaklee. And so just make sure that you never skip step 5, because people need you to do that and to offer that option to them.
I can hear the questions right now. could we just have that little dialogue there on paper? Yes, we can. We follow around behind Lisa with a recording all the time, and we'll write it down and get that to you. I just want to say on those 5 points, I want you to understand you will not speak to people about joining you in the business if you're not clear what you're going to do with them. It's when they do. It's that old saying that our greatest fear is what do we do if we approach somebody and they say no, which is rapidly followed by the next fear of, oh my gosh, what do I do if someone says yes? And we want you to understand that these 5 steps are totally covered in the material from last fall and this spring, 2014. So there we have the steps, we have the material, but that number 4, the launching part, that's where the learning begins. Mm-hmm. That's where the coaching begins. Doing the planning, we'll cover that, but that's, making a 1,000 PV plan, 2,000 PV plan, that's not difficult. It's when they're in the mix. It's when they're in the trenches and they're dealing with people with questions they don't know how to handle, or that's when the coaching begins. And we're going to go into detail about coaching. I think, Joe, in 4 and 5?
Yes.
So Katie is not unmuted, I can tell. Okay, at any rate, okay, so I just wanted to say that those 5 points, just write those down, have them in front of you, know that you know that. And if you want to brush up on that, you can go to any of those other sessions, but we are now leading the others, and those are the simple steps of it. Okay, thanks. Katie.
All right.
You had to unmute because you had to speak. Okay, got it.
All right, so a lot of times or at least I get asked, well, how long will this take, or how long do I expect until I can get to director? And it is all completely dependent upon these steps of getting people into action, planning, strategizing, and if somebody needs to begin at that director level making anywhere from, I think the average director makes $1,000 a month on average with Shaklee, which is typically when I ask people what they would like to earn as far as their income, I feel like the majority of people would like to start at that point. That tends to be the average of where people would like to begin. So to do that, as Lisa walked us through, setting up their personal website, reviewing the First Steps resource guide and the business kit, making their list and scheduling activities. But how do you know how long before that first planning session? I would do it as soon as possible. When somebody decides to join the business, they have already committed to it and they are ready to get into action. They just don't know what to do yet. And so getting them at that excitement level and where they're really excited is so important. So if they're local, I'll try and meet with them so that they can get started with everything and put together a binder of materials, of getting started materials that I've just collected over time, and now I'm thinking, oh, everybody's going to ask about that. It's basically just the First Steps resource guide, list of training webinars that we do, everything that would help somebody to get started. Also, I like to give people samples so that they can pass out those samples to their customers, and if they hadn't yet tried things, then they can try things as well. So scheduling activities with them. I know other teams do where they commit to getting people in front of finding 3 friends to help them connect with their upline. So it's either 3-way calls if they're not local, or setting up a couple mini in-home events that first week when you're getting started. Once they decide to become a director, how long does it take? On average, between 4 and 12 weeks. And again, this is all completely dependent upon these action steps and how eager people are to set up these activities, to start planning, to start setting up the 3-way calls, things like that. And what is the expectation for the level of activity for the first 30 days? Lots. When I was trying to get to director, I literally would schedule something almost every day. Now, it wasn't always formal. I didn't have a formal in-home every single day. But I would schedule, whether it was a play date, or I would schedule to call a friend that I hadn't talked to in a year, or I would schedule just anything. I would be outside, and then all of a sudden I'd form a relationship with a friend, and she would ask me, so what do you do? And then that would lead into Shaklee. That's one of the first questions people will often ask you, no matter where you meet them, whether it's the grocery store, different things like that. Make sure when you're starting your business to invest. I always talk about this, but invest in a water bottle or invest in a Shaklee shirt so that you have something that's visible for people. And I just wanted to back up a second for the evaluation period, because I think it's very important to know that the evaluation period of the business can vary from person to person, but we get stuck sometimes because when somebody expresses an interest in the business, we don't know at what point do we keep asking them or trying to see if they're ready. And here's what I found that helps a lot with that is I will, when somebody expresses an interest, I will let them know when I'm going to be following up with them next. And I might ask them, do you think that you could watch these couple Shaklee TV videos in the next few days? Yes, I think I could. Or, I don't, this weekend's going to be really busy. Okay, do you think you could watch it in the next week? Yeah, I think that sounds great. Okay, I am going to call you on Thursday at 8 o'clock at night. Does that work for you to work through, or to chat through this? And then you're already setting that time up, and then that doesn't leave that awkward, I don't know what to do. Same thing with customers. When they express an interest and you're not quite sure, you don't want to nag them, and you have to be really careful with that too, because you don't want to be too pushy with that. But if you put that out there that you're going to be checking in with them, then that takes some of that pressure off.
Well, and just I totally agree. But if you haven't done that and you're like, I have these 3 people, they expressed an interest, like I didn't tell them when I was going to, right now is the perfect time, because when we have a huge special like this, you have an opportunity to say, I have something more to offer you. So you can offer them, we have these gold kit, we have these big specials, so I didn't know if you were still interested, but if you are, this is the time to do it. And then you can tell them, I'll follow up with you, whenever it is, because this special doesn't go on forever. So that's a great, I totally agree with that. But if you haven't, this is a good time to use what Shaklee's given us as a platform to follow up with someone. Very good.
Yes, definitely. I love that. So popular resources on leadership, the important thing to know about as we become leaders is that we lead by example. And that by leading by example, we naturally attract people to us. And so for me, I knew that there's a lot that I need to learn. There's a lot that I needed to grow. I don't have a business background. My background is in teaching. And so I had to learn a lot about what to say to people, how to follow up, how to have a home-based business. And leadership is something Harper always models this. She's always watching or listening to podcasts while she works out or she's making dinner. She's leading by example for our team. And she's reading books. And these are some examples of some books that you can get, of course, as my computer decides to go black. There's Google TED Talks on leadership that you can also look at. John Maxwell has many books on leadership. There's Power of Layered Leadership, Servant Leadership by Ken Jennings, The Art of Possibility. I haven't read some of these. I need to. Podcasts by Michael Hyatt. Those are wonderful. Harper introduced our team to those, and those are extremely encouraging and motivational. Entree Leadership. I love Dave Ramsey because he is such an example of a wonderful leader. And also Andy Stanley does a lot of leadership talks. He runs a fairly large church down in Atlanta, Georgia. And in Principle Centered Leadership by Stephen Covey. And also we'll mention too that something that I will be attending in August is called the Leadership Summit. And this is in the Chicagoland area, and it's run by Willow Creek, which is a very large church in our area. I think it's, I don't know, somewhere from 10 to 20,000 people. But they have satellite campuses around the Chicagoland area, and this is all based on leadership. And I am so excited. This will be my first time attending this, and they have some incredible speakers lined up. So that's August 6th and 7th, which just happens to be right before Global. But everybody that's attended it said if you have any type of leadership role, whether it's in your job or as an employee, employer, or a business leader in our situation, or even if you're working in a church setting, this is such a wonderful way where you can learn skills and leadership qualities. So I'm super excited about that. And then I think, Harper, you're next on the action step.
And so just getting into action is really important, taking these things and selecting something to listen to. And, you know, wherever you are, you can learn. And I struggled for a long time because I could not get through a book. I have 3 small children, like I'm running around, like it was so hard for me to get through a book on leadership. And my husband, who is brilliant, was like, why don't you, make the most of your time doing other things and listen to some of these podcasts? And he's actually the one who presented some of these to me. And that has been huge. And unfortunately, when I listen to like the EntreLeadership, for example, one, it's always an author where I'm like, oh my goodness, I want to read his book. And it's not a stage of life where I'm reading a lot of books, but I'm wanting to grow. And I have a book and I always have it on my phone. Like I download the books that I am reading on my phone so that even if I just have a few minutes, I can read just a couple pages. But the podcasts are a free tool that we have. So wherever you're at, whatever you're doing, whether you may work full time and, your commute, no matter how long your commute is, make the most of that time and just continuing to learn. And, excuse me, the difference between where you are today and where you will be 5 years from now will be found in the quality of books that you read. And it really is true, the things that we continue to learn and the ways that we continue to grow. I think that the next thing that we need to do is review or create your system for developing dozens of leaders who are about to come into your organization. Think big. Think about, don't just think, okay, well, I'll just throw something together for, my friend Susie who's joining me in the business. Know that it's not just going to be Susie, and it's going to be many people, and Susie's going to have many people. And so creating a system, and like Katie said, those systems change and develop, and the more that I learn, and I try to update those things and the things that I send, and when you go to conference and you meet other leaders and you learn what they're doing, you may want to change some things, exactly what you send and how you send it, but putting together a system for that, and talk with your upline about how to do that and what they've done. And the last thing is to really monitor your self-talk, and that will really reveal a lot of your belief in your success, and think about your vision. And self-talk is really important, and it can really, because there are going to be times when things are hard, and there are going to be times when things are good, and if we let ourselves get pulled into a cycle of bad self-talk and let a bad thing turn into, well, maybe this could happen, instead of really changing our perspective. And those are some of the things that we learn from leadership, and for some of us through prayer, but for me, this is a huge thing, and this is something that I've really had to work on. And even lately, in the midst of being very tired and, having a baby and all the different things that come along with that, where it can be easy for me to forget to monitor my self-talk. And so it really is important. And when you feel like you are struggling with your self-talk, call your upline and get that encouragement that you need to turn that around, and focus on the things that you can be doing and the things that have gone well. And I think that that's really important, and that's another skill that we have to learn when we're developing a business.
Very good.
Katie.
All right. So some action steps continually for summer strategies. It's the beginning of June. I love the beginning of the month because it's time to get out your calendar and to start scheduling activities. On the Shackley Effect, which is a Facebook group that you can look up, Elena uploaded. It's called A Plan of Action, and it's a calendar that you can do monthly with your PV and activities. It has your goals on there. So start setting up that calendar and with events of 3-way calls. I know for me, next week I'm going to the New Directors Conference, which I'm so excited about.
Good.
And then we're moving after that. So my calendar is very busy these next 2 weeks, filled with schedules. Almost every night there's something, or every day I have something planned because I know I'm going to be gone then for that rest of the time. So plan ahead. You might have a family vacation at the end of the month. So you know those first 3 months are going to have to be busy so that when you go on vacation, you don't have to worry about where your PV is at, and especially now that we're at the beginning of June. And then helping your team to set up sponsoring goals for July. And June is a really big month because June is the final month where you can get all full points when you break out a director. So June, you will get the 7-month chunk of points when you break somebody out in the month of June. And so I know there's a lot of people on our team right now really working towards director to help get them to Cabo, and people working actively to get some of their team to director. And then lastly, I think what's really important is find a way to attend Cleveland. One way that our team really helped cut the cost was a lot of our team is sharing a house, and you can search for homes on Airbnb, home away from home, and they found a home that is only $96 for the entire Wednesday through Saturday. That's for the entire stay. That breaks down to like $20 or $30 a night, which is very reasonable for what people are going to see to their income as soon as they go to global. Once people make that investment, they're going to see that, as Harper said, come back and double. For our business, I know that it's always doubled. Our team's always increased in the amount of team members that we've had. I've always had people express an interest in the business when we go to global because they're seeing pictures that I'm posting on social media, and they're thinking, wow, Katie's got a really neat job. She's traveling to Long Beach, and she's traveling to Nashville, and she's traveling to all these fun locations, and she's got her newborn just on her sleeping. How is that? That's so incredible. And like Harper said, it's just a community, a family community that welcomes having children and having families and having babies, and there's no other job you can have where you have that flexibility. I always share with people that I had a family member that was let go because her children kept getting sick, and she had to keep calling into work. And you don't have that with Shackley. We always have that flexibility. So we're very excited for the month of June, and help your distributors think about how many they will bring with them to Cleveland too.
Very good.
Bye, George. Joe, we did it. Okay, so this is Joe's favorite quote. Go ahead. And favorite author.
Oh, you were really sounding weird there for a minute to me.
Barb, you came through a little bit like Darth Vader.
Oh!
It's really interesting.
Well, it's my new persona.
Boy, I guess so. Ben and Rosalind Zander have wrote a book called The Art of Possibility, and he was a conductor of the Boston Philharmonic Orchestra and has a very amazing perspective on things. But he made the statement, the conductor of an orchestra doesn't make a sound. He depends for his power on his ability to make other people powerful. And I think that's something for us to keep in mind as we go forward here and build our Shackley organizations. Mm-hmm. Okay, we have a bunch of questions, and so that kind of wraps up the formal aspect of our presentation this morning. Someone was hoping to hear a recap of Hawaii, but that didn't happen. What happened to the June?
We can recap Hawaii. It had palm trees, coconuts, beautiful ocean,
Water, sunshine,
and wonderful people. And you know, when Harper was talking about spending that week in Maui, is that, and she said we were on vacation. Yeah, we're on vacation, but you're on vacation. Hans always says going on a Shaklee trip is like going on vacation and taking all your best friends with you.
Yeah.
And so it's, you know, we are constantly strategizing and exchanging ideas and laughing in between and while we're lying by the pool and playing with the kids, and you know, it's a wonderful way to do business, as Katie was describing. And so you know, all Shaklee trips are wonderful, and it's hard to bring back to you a flavor of what they're like. That's why, same way with Global, that is something really to experience, and that's our goal, is to get lots and lots of you to those, to the trip, to the Cabo trip, to the Italy trip, and starting with Global. Okay.
Shirley wants to know what happened to the June 8th Monday Night Wellness webinar on children from 0 to 1,000 days, because she's been promoting that.
It's come. You know what happened to that was I'm doing that with Becky Cash, and it's still on. I had to change it because she's having her master pinning on that session. So it now has been boosted to 1,000 days. 1,000 days. Where did I put it? I'll find it. Okay, go to your next question, and I'll dig it out for you, because I still have it. I think it's in August. It's August 3rd.
Okay.
It's August 3rd.
What kind of ideas do you have for moms that work full-time jobs and might not be at the park or beaches as much?
You know, I think it's the same concept. If you think about if you're at the park or the beach, you know, you're talking to people, you're sharing what's going on in your life. So if you're at the water cooler or having lunch with coworkers, it's the same ideas. Go ahead. Was that you, Katie or Harper?
No, I totally agree. I think when you are working full time, you're around people all the time versus a mom that's staying at home. Mm-hmm. And so I think it's an even better way to put products out on your desk. We saw Harper's husband the other day, Ryan, and he had his whole Shaklee products laying out on his desk, and then you look at the desk next to them, and they had Shaklee products, and that's advertisement right there, just having products out, going to the lunchroom, taking a meal bar or taking a smoothie, and what are you drinking or what are you eating, or putting some energizing tea in your water bottle. I think, you know, you're around a lot of people, and that's looking for creative ways. And also there is something that happens between the hours of 8 and 10 in Shaklee, 8 and 10 p.m., where all the moms just go to work. They are doing Facebook events. They're making phone calls. Somebody called me once at 9, and they're like, "Oh, you're still awake?" And I was like, "Oh, my night's just beginning," because that's when we can work undistracted, and we don't have to worry about the kids. And that's when a lot of other people's kids are in bed. So it frees them up as well.
Right. It's like a magic time. Yeah, I agree.
Well, and in the summer, I think someone else said it earlier, like, you're doing different things. Like, you're going to a 4th of July party that you go to every year, and you're going to barbecues, and there are things going on the weekends and in the evenings that are different. It's not just at the pool. And so just knowing what, what those things are, and knowing, like, I mean, I can't tell you that I can't go to a baby shower ever again without being like, I wonder who I might meet there. and something that Katie said too about, like, having your stuff out, like, wherever you go, whatever you do, but also asking other people questions, and whether that's at the office or at the park or whatever. But when you meet someone and you ask them about themselves, they often ask you about yourself.
Yeah.
Right. And so thinking about that, wherever you go, whatever you do, it's not just, I mean, that's what it looks like for those of us who stay home, that's where we tend to be and see new people. But there's so many things going on over the summer that are different.
You just, even in the evenings or on weekends, go for walks around the neighborhood. People are outside, they're working in their yards, they're playing with their kids. You run into more people and whether you're even if you work, you can do that in the evenings and on weekends.
Mm-hmm.
And this is one of those bloom where you're planted conversations. Is, because whoever is around you, if you are at work, use that as an advantage. There are people there who are under stress. There are people there who need to eat lunch. There are people there who may want to lose weight and have a Shaklee 180 lunch break with you. There could be, there are people, men and women, who bring in samples of the amazing Effusel skincare line. They put it in a little sample kit and let people take it home and use it for a couple of days. We have strategies for every situation, and that's part of our, collecting our marketing strategies, so that when you're coaching somebody, you figure out where they are, who they know, who are the people that they're around, and then use that to their advantage.
And when you come to Global, you can meet a lot of other people who are in your same stage of life and business, and you can share ideas with them, with each other.
Good. Excellent. So what do you say when someone asks you, what do you do?
I can tell you what I say, and I have a pretty short response because what I want to do is have them ask another question. But I'll say, I have my own business. I work from home. It's a health and wellness business. Have you ever heard of Shaklee? And the reason is because there's a couple things I want to identify. I want to identify working from home. I think it's a very attractive idea, but I am very proud of the name Shaklee, and I don't want to tuck that away. You know what I mean? So, and of course, depending on the situation, I'll say it a little differently sometimes, but that's my general go-to. And so they'll either say, yes, I have heard of Shaklee, or no, I haven't. Well, great. Then I can get to say something next, right? So that's me. I don't know. What does anybody else say?
Something that I've learned, when I first started this, I was in the share mode. I just, I was casual. I was just sharing products. And when I started to really develop a business and decide that I wanted to grow in that way and that I wanted to share the business because of how powerful I saw it in my life, I started adding a piece about that, which has been very interesting how that's changed when people ask, and when I tell people that, I help people find natural solutions to their health, and I also help others build businesses. And that's a piece that I have added. And sometimes I just start very vaguely with that, depending on what the conversation is. And then I always bring that I partner with Shaklee into it. But, if it's a conversation where I'm just, it's only have just a very little piece to say, but I always include that because I've had so many conversations where someone's been like, oh, really? Yeah. Tell me about this, because all of a sudden, because they've been looking for something, and it may be you. If it's someone you've never met, you don't know what situation they're in. So putting that out there that I help other people build businesses, because that's a big part of what I do. That is a big part of my job. And so sharing that with people so that they know that what you're about to talk about is open to them too.
Mm-hmm. Very good.
Good. Next, Joe?
People are saying this is a good session. Thank you. They missed it when we took a break. How does Katie know what Harper is reading, and how does Harper share what she is reading with her team?
Facebook. A lot of it is on Facebook. We have a team Facebook page, and for example, like I said, I listened to that podcast yesterday, so I found that link of that podcast and I put it on my team Facebook page. And but Katie and I are talking, we're talking about what we're reading and what we're listening to and sharing that with each other. And that's one way is Facebook.
Yeah. I want to, real quick before I forget, just to give a little shout out to Linda Bennett out here in Colorado, who is a tremendous leader. Her and Steve hit Senior Director this month. And I just wanted to celebrate you, Linda. She's a faithful attender of our trainings here. So you are awesome.
You'll be leading the training any day now, Linda. Okay. Good.
What does Shaklee have for bug bites?
I've heard the multi-purpose cream is wonderful. Yeah, the herbal blend. Mm-hmm.
Or Basic H too, just a little dot of Basic H. Yeah. But if you don't have your multi-purpose cream with you, that is another option.
Right. Katie, would you tell us where to find the calendar we can upload again?
Yeah. It is, if you go to the Shaklee Effect on Facebook, it's a group, and Elena Panos hope I'm saying her last name right.
Yep.
Uploaded all those documents recently, creating a list, plan of action, and you just go to that Facebook page, and then it's under files, and they're all there.
Okay. Can Katie explain the working folder online? I think we'll do that.
We actually have an archive session on that.
Yes.
That's right. We have, in fact, a lot of the how-tos that you're asking about, including what do you say when you're describing your business and what you do, is all in those sessions. So starting from last summer, that's more of an abbreviated session. That's a very good one because there's a lot of summer kinds of ideas in there. But last fall was focused on how to help, how to become a director, and from from zero to director. And then in the spring that we just completed, it was how to develop directors. It was the key things, as key steps, and you'll find them in there. But the summer is about how we can be the kind of leader that develops an organization. We're really looking at how we use those resources to build your directors, but what attracts those directors to you has to do with who we are as a person. So that's what we're focusing on here. And that's why this first session, we realized that if we're talking to you about how to develop an organization, we had to begin with why would you want to develop an organization? That's why we talked about that this morning. And then to make sure that you know that you have the resources to know exactly what steps to take them through, including there's a session both from the summer session last summer and the fall session called Getting Started 101. That's a really good one, and so you can print those. You can download those the PowerPoints. We print them 6 to a page, and we file them under each of those semesters so we can go and grab that material fast out of there. So if you like doing it online, that totally works fine, but for me, it's so fast for me to know what's the material that's in each of those. So that's what we do on Thursday mornings when we're presenting. All of us have printed 6 to a page of each of the slides. That's how we know what's coming up, and that's how we're able to comment on each other's materials.
Barb, can I just add really quick, as far as a working folder, that's just a notebook that you have that you are continually adding your list of names, your goals, and your action plan for the month. So go buy a notebook and just divide it, and I think having that list of names, you will be surprised how often you forget people that messaged you or texted you a month ago interested in the product, and then never heard from them again, but now Shaklee has this great promo and you can reach out to them again. But unless we see those names on almost a daily basis, we won't know where to go or who to talk to or what my goals are.
And in there we also put a sheet of paper with bullet points on it of what you want to say. So that for those of you, when you're coaching a person who is new, getting started, they haven't found their words yet sometimes. So we have bullet points on those, on a page that tells them what they're going to say when they call people so that they get comfortable with that.
Yeah, and all of these PowerPoints are archived at www.bobsfiles.net.
And the podcasts for them are at Better Health in 31 Days. Better Future starts today. Better Future starts today. Yeah. Oh, cool. Okay. Anything else, Joe?
Someone was asking about, and the gals mentioned the new promo from Shaklee. And if you go to the Member Center, Shaklee is giving additional free products for people who buy the gold kits.
A lot of additional free products.
Yeah.
And for both the little gold kit and the big gold kit, you get, I think with the 3
Vivix and Vitalizer.
You get the Healthy Foundations. So you get the Vitalizer and the Vitalizing Protein. And then for the $6.99, you get the Lean and Healthy Kit. It's amazing.
It's a big deal. Yeah, it's a big deal.
So it's all on the Member Center. It's front and center there.
Yeah, and we'll put it in the pre-call next week too. Good. Okay. Thanks, everybody. Did we cover it, Joe? We're good?
Yeah, someone is asking on this Monday Night Wellness thing, it says, is there a meeting June 22nd and June 29th? Because June 25th is not a Monday.
That was a test to see if you were reading.
You passed. Good job.
Yes. It's whatever that week is. Yeah. So
there's a missing week here, Barb, is what they're saying, I think.
Well, it should be.
Yeah, June 22nd and then June 29th.
Well, isn't that interesting? Okay, so the 22nd, I didn't put in, Steve, the myths of the naysayers?
No.
Well, that's what it's going to be.
I'll attach this. We'll correct this and then attach it to.
Oh, you know what? I flipped
email.
I flipped into July. Okay, yeah. That's it. Okay, so yeah, Steve, you want to actually on the 22nd, you want to tune into that because that's Steve Cheney, and he's going to talk about how all these bloggers, and if you go on the internet, you hear all these things about all these ingredients that are going to kill you, and then you turn out they're in Shaklee products, and then you find out they don't kill you at all, and they're not dangerous at all, and people are selling books and developing, making money by standing in criticism of things that there's very little science behind, and he really goes through that. It's really very good. That'll be a very good one. Good.
Okay. That's a wrap, and we'll see you next Thursday when Lifetime Presidential Master Coordinator Gary Burke will be sharing with us his thoughts about leadership and building an organization. He and his wife Faye have been paid over $13 million in Shaklee and have a huge organization that goes from coast to coast and border to border. So that'll be good.
And interesting, the kinds of things that we're talking about in this 6-week session, that's the kind of stuff that Gary and Faye have built their organization with, is helping people learn how to be good. And he always says, we don't build, what does he say? We don't build customers. That's it. We don't build customers. We don't build directors. We build people. That's what he says.
Right.
And so that's why this is his topic. Thanks, everyone.
Great. Have a great week. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.